Hello everyone, it's Christmas time, or well, as at the time of recording this, Christmas is far over and we're looking forward to the new year. So I want to first of all thank everyone that has followed Bookish Reflections since I started it. Honestly, I didn't think I would come this far. It was that safe. I just wanted to test the waters with doing videos on books and just see how far I could go. And so far I have done 11 episodes and a mini series with Francine Rivers's books and with so many interesting guests, and so there's a lot to be grateful for. 2021 has been quite a year, whether it's career wise or in my reading journey, personal matters. 2021 has been quite a year, but I remain grateful to God that I'm here and that you are here and you're listening to me right now. It's just by the mercies of God. So Merry Christmas in arrears, and I'm wishing you a Happy New Year in advance. Okay, so today I want to run through quite a number of books that made my year 2021 memorable. I titled this episode, "These are a few of my favorite books." Yes, I said a few because it's usually very difficult for us as book lovers to handpick one book or two books and say, oh, these are my all-time favorites. Well, for me, it's actually very difficult. I always read one book that seems better than the previous one I have read, that seems better than the other one I have read, and so it looks like I am always having favorite books every time, so yeah, it's great for me to share some of these books with you. But before I do that, we'll just talk to you a bit about my reading journey in 2021. Well, it wasn't all easy. I had a lot of editing work to do this year, so my reading pace slowed down a bit. And then I think I also had a struggle of finding books I really liked. Yeah, I did have that struggle. I actually intended at the beginning of the year to read a bit more of books that discuss political and social issues, because I am very interested in that. People that follow me up close know that I love to talk about politics. I love to talk about social issues, things happening in the society, how it affects us. And so I was looking forward to doing more of that, but I didn't really get around to it. I had a lot of distractions this year, but I think I still had a good run. Yeah, it's not every time we have that very interesting ride with books. Sometimes we have our lows and all of that, making decisions and all. So yeah, it was good. 2021 was good. I did have some really interesting memories with some books, and I will be sharing them with you right now. Let me also say that there is no particular order in which I will be calling out these books. What I mean is, I'm not saying I don't have them in a number. Say, number one, my best is the number one, or number two is my second best. No, I'm just going to call them randomly. They are not in any particular order. They are just some of the books I know that I will remember for quite a while, and books that left me in what's the word? Books that, well, I don't think those books left me. I think I should say books that stayed with me, books that I know I'll be talking about for a very long time, books that I would recommend to people to read, because I feel, or I'm confident that people will also enjoy this book. So in no particular order, and there is one that comes to my mind. I had to make a note so I don't forget. The Girl with a Loud Voice by Abidari. Now, from the moment I was seeing a lot of talk around the book, I took interest, and then at a Cave Arts and Book Festival, it was online, I listened to the author, and then I'm like, okay, I think I want to read this book, especially because she was talking about an issue I feel we have neglected in society, and that is the plight of domestic workers, and how many of them have been traumatized in homes where they are sent to work, where they are being molested, treated badly like second-class citizens, or worse than second-class citizens. And Abidari does a fantastic job in capturing that that issue through the character of Aduni, a young girl who wants to go to school, who loves education, but because, of course, coming from a very, very rural background with a father who did not see the importance of education, for a girl child, and she triumphing over all of that, running away from home, finding herself in Lagos, and Lagos can be very overwhelming, staying in the houses of people, and how she grew through all of those experiences. The Girl with the Loud Voice is one book I would recommend. I know I have had a guest talk about this book with me on Bookish Reflections, because it has everything. Abidare talks not only about the issue of domestic workers and how they are treated in Nigeria and how unregulated that industry is. She talks about women and what they go through also, especially Nigerian women, what they go through in their matrimonial homes, the issue of infertility, and a lot of the book is packed. So yes, it was one book I know I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think you should pick it up. The Girl with the Loud Voice by Abidari. Now, this is another book I will remember for a very long time, and this is the first time I was reading that author, and the title of the book is The Songbook of Benny Lament by Amy Hammond. Whew, that was a book. How Amy Hammond talks about big issues, so many big issues, and she did not lose sight of all of the things she wanted to talk about. Her characters were very well developed, rounded characters. It's still beyond me. I think Amy Hammond is a beautiful storyteller. I mean, that book blew my mind. So I really don't read mafia stories, even though most of us might have read, or some of us might have read The Godfather and all of those kind of books. I kind of find myself staying away from them because they really aren't my thing. But I found Amy Hammond talking about the mafia and music and race. Three very, but when I say different things coming together as a whole to just bring this beautiful story together. I mean, it was wow. I read that book and I told myself, anything Amy Hammond writes, I am going to read. I mean, that was a decision I made. For us as book lovers, we love to discover new authors that we probably have never. New authors, because we probably most times have not really read them or heard about them. I hadn't heard about Amy Hammond. I just saw some comments about her work on Goodreads, people talking about her so with very lofty words, and I said, okay, I think I'll give it a try. And wow, she did it so very well. She nailed it. She nailed that book. I think it was a 5-star read for me. Yes. Esther, that character was well built. Esther being a black woman. The book is set in the 1960s, so you can call it a historical fiction in the heat of the civil rights movement. Wow. Oh, you need to read it. Wherever you get your ebooks, I think it's available on Kobo Books. You can just read and let me know how you feel. I recommended it to someone, the lady who went to read, and she came back with so many testimonies of how she enjoyed the book. And I give it so much joy when people read what I ask them to read or recommend to them. Yeah, so Amy Hammond did a powerful job. The love story of Esther in the book and Benny, a white guy and a black girl in that time. Of course, it was really difficult. Amy Hammond, she did justice to it. She talked about political issues. She talked about the concept of family. She waded through those waters with so much ease that you were not lost. No particular aspect suffered for the other. I mean, it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of expertise to be able to pull that together. And I think Amy Hammond did wonderfully well in that. Yes, so I'll go to another book I wrote down that I would want to talk about, and that is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. This year has been quite a year, like I said, especially for different countries. For the world, we're all battling with COVID and still trying to grapple with it. But for countries like Afghanistan, the US decided to pull out of Afghanistan this year, and all news stations were awash with the happenings and the events going on in Afghanistan. And I read this book just at the time that was happening, so it felt like I was beginning to connect more dots. Although I read Khalid Hosseini before, and The Mountains Echo, I remember that I had tears in my eyes reading that book. I was drawn to Kabul. I had never been to Kabul. I didn't know much about Afghanistan, but after reading that, and so when Kabul fell to the Taliban, as reported on the news, it felt so personal. And that's something about books. You don't have to be somewhere to feel like you're part of a place, because writers have been given incredible gifts to bring places to you, bring them to you just in your room there. You are in Kabul, you are in India, you are anywhere. And so I was able to connect with what was happening in Afghanistan, even though I have never been there, because of Khalid Hosseini. The book spans through a generation of 3 women. And yes, Khalid told this. I mean, you know, most times people think that, oh, women can only tell stories of women. Khalid Hosseini tells a beautiful story of these women. Your emotions will go through. Oh, it was a tight one. Yeah, it was a tight one. I found myself having to take some time to just let some of the words in the book just sink in. Khalid Hosseini is a brilliant storyteller. He does it so well. He's a master at what he does. And yes, women are not finding it easy in some of these countries, and it makes us see that there is still a long way to go in fighting for women's rights. And so Khalid Hosseini makes us want to think about many things, and I think there are important things to think about and have conversations about. So yes, go pick up A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. It's amazing. Yes, so there was one other book I enjoyed, young adults. I really don't read young adults as such, but I run a teens book club, and so I had to read quite a number. And so I read The Firekeepers Daughter by Angeline Boyle, and I remember finishing that book in 2 days, and 2 days because I stayed on it. I mean, I loved it. I really love it. I did a review of the book on my website. I think I'm going to share the link just down below this video. And the book was about a biracial girl who is, the issue of identity comes again. Who am I? Am I white? And her father is what I think Ojibwe. Yes, I think it's a Native American ethnic group. And the book was very educative in that aspect, showing us how their traditions. And this is a girl struggling to find out who she is, connect with where her mother is from and where her father is from, and then she witnesses a murder. So there's the thriller aspect of the book coming to play. And then in the bid to find out who is behind this murder, we find there's drug trafficking and all that. Well, I think her name was Donis. So yeah, Donis. It was really good. I didn't see that coming. Yeah, those kind of books where you say I didn't see that coming. I really didn't see that coming in the book. It was really amazing. So you can get your copy. For this one I read the ebook. So wherever you get your ebooks, you should be able to land a copy of this. Now, another book that I thoroughly enjoyed, still by Amy Hammond, was What the Wind Knows. historical fiction. I think this year I really delved into historical fiction, because historical fiction and me, we are not so friendly. But I'm beginning to see that some writers really pull it off. It's Amy Hammond pulled this one off. Not only was this historical fiction, she was able to expertly do time travel. I usually wouldn't go near time travel, but after I had read the songbook of Lament, I really wanted to explore more by this author, and I dare say Amy Hammond is one author I discovered this year, and I feel she's worth reading. She's worth my money. She's worth everything, you know. So I read What the Wind Knows. The centric character of the protagonist is Annie, and we get to meet her and her grandfather, who dies a little bit early into the book, and she wanting to go back where she really is from. Her grandfather is Irish, and so this idea of wanting to know your place, where you're from, and so she goes to Ireland, and then she goes on a boat, and then she finds herself back in the 19 or 18 something, where, you know, the early 1900s, I think. Yes. And there she meets her grandfather as a child. I mean, her grandfather as a young boy. She basically time traveled into the past. If you love all of those kind of books, I would recommend this to you. You will not have a dull moment at all. It was expertly written. It was beautifully written. And the love story, Amy Hammond tells beautiful love stories. You know, there are some love stories that I read, I just end up rolling my eyes like, so cliche. But with Amy Hammond, I don't do that, because she's able to bring these characters to. I'm looking for the word. Is it a very realist fiction? Yes, she's a realist in telling her love stories. Not everything is all lovey-dovey and all of that. You know, she does brilliantly well in telling love stories. So yes, between the love story between Thomas and Anne, I didn't see the end coming too. And Yaman, I never see the end coming with her. So yeah, go with that. Then another is Buried Beneath the Baobab Tree. That is by our own Nigerian author, Trisha Wambwani. I hope I pronounced it well, Wambwani. Yeah, so Trisha did a fantastic job in telling that very horror story. Yes, I still call it a horror story, the kidnap of the Chibok girls. It's something that has forever stained the history of our country, Nigeria, and this story was so beautifully written. I felt like Trisha took me to Chibok, and she put me right in that camp to just witness everything. That's how good the book was. Written in short chapters, but every page was so heart-wrenching. Seeing young girls go through what they went through under the Boko Haram insurgents was just, I found myself just sighing, you know, like wishing I could be Black Panther and just go there and rescue them, you know, wishing you had superpowers. And the trauma that those girls went through, I mean, it's not what I really would want anybody to go through. I wouldn't want my enemies to go through that, honestly. It was quite a touching story, and Trisha did a beautiful job in bringing that story to life in her book, Buried Beneath the Baobab Tree. So you can get your copy wherever books are sold and read. So another book I loved, We Are All Birds of Uganda by Hafsa Zayan. Now, everybody talks about, you know, leaving the shores of Nigeria. Everybody wants to travel out, and a lot of times I realize that my reading of immigration literature or books on immigration or immigrant experiences are usually by Nigerians. So I think this is, well, maybe my memory might not be serving me well right now, but I think We're All Birds of Uganda is the first book I am reading that talks about immigrant experiences in Africa. I mean, um, Uganda was colonized, we all know that, but they also, when they were able to gain their independence, they became oppressors themselves to other immigrants in their country, the Asians, the Indians, and the Asians that were there at that time, that were the business owners, at that time. So We're All Birds of Uganda was more of, as much as it was a beautiful story, it was a history lesson for me. I have heard of Idi Amin. I've watched documentaries. I've watched the movies around centered around him, and so I felt like the author took me through history, and I realized that the stories of immigration are unique. You can't really lump everybody's experiences together, as much as some are shared experiences, but individuals have their own struggles and have their own travails in moving, the concept of home and exile, things like that. In the novel, Hafsa really deals with it. Samia is the main character in that book, and also the story is set in two time zones. Is it time zones or eras? Two different eras. Yes, she was able to tell the story of Samia's ancestors, like I use the word, and then Samia's own present reality, and Samia trying to find himself, that search for who I am. I mean, who am I? Or excuse me, who am I? Where do I find myself more at home? Things like that. And Hafsa Zayan did a fantastic job. Loved it. Go get your copy. Very, very interesting. And then I did a Francie Rivers series. I am addicted to Francie Rivers. I read everything she writes. She is so good. Yes, she's so good. I loved Adishafa Blue. Pastor Wahala. I found myself, the first time I read the book, I reread it this year. The first time I read the book, I remember I was in University of Ibadan at that time, I think in 300 level. After reading it, I think I still talk about that story. I went on my knees and began to pray for every pastor that I could think of, that I could remember. Paul and Eunice, wonderful couple, living together, trying to begin a ministry for the Lord, or to help a struggling ministry, a struggling church, and suddenly Pastor Paul veers off and starts doing his own thing, and his home is almost wrecked. He moves far away from God, and it's a story of redemption, also finding your way back. And beautiful story. Francie Rivers, you can't miss with Francie Rivers. And I think another book I'm worth mentioning is Redeeming Love by Francie Rivers. That was historical fiction, Christian historical fiction at its finest. I mean, Francie Rivers is just in another category. I don't know. She does it for me. I can hardly find faults with her works. Is that serious? She's amazing. And so Redeeming Love she took the biblical story of Hosea and then she wrote a very beautiful piece. I have seen the trailer of the movie and I wish I could see it. I don't know if any cinema in Nigeria will be showing it, but whether they'll put it on Netflix, I don't know. Hopefully, I hope to see the movie one day. And you know how we book lovers feel about movies. Let them not spoil it. But from what I saw from the trailer, I think it will be very nice. So yes, Francie Rivers. She was one of my talks this year. Even though most of the books were reread, I reread them and I had a very good time. Yeah. And so let's still talk about, I think, how many books have I gone through? I think I've gone through most of them. The Mechanics of Yenogwa. That book. I literally fell off my chair. I mean, I fell off because I was laughing. I fell, causing people to wonder what was wrong with me. That's how hilarious. I found the book. If you're looking for something to just take your mind off Nigerian stress, that book is just it. And I mean, I must give a shout out to the author. Not every Nigerian author knows how to use comedy, but this particular author, Michael Afenfia, did it well. It was hilarious. It was the mechanics, really, because yes, the main character is a Binimi, but the mechanics around him, they were all mechanics, but that shared brotherhood amongst them was just something beautiful to read about. And the travels of Nigerian youths trying to make their way in this country was just the main theme that drove the story. I found myself laughing a lot, and I saw the lessons, and I did not see that coming too. Most of what happened there, I did not see it coming. I mean, as you turn the page, from one drama to another. Thumbs up to the author. Go get your copy. Very, 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 very important. That book makes a lot of sense. Okay, finally on my list, I think. Well, I have two more. The Grace Year. I don't read dystopian literature. It's why I struggle with Margaret Atwood. I never finished The Handmaid's Tale. I never finished it at all. But this one, Kate Liggett, I think that's her name, Kate Liggett. Man, whew, that was a book. That was really a book. Kate Liggett killed it. It's about young girls who have to go to, I think it's a forest to get when they're 16 to have their magic taken away from them. What is believed to be magic is their feminine wiles, charm. And at a point in reading the book, I didn't know what was real or what was magic. The book was so good. It was so good. I did not feel like I was struggling to understand the elements because Kate Liggett killed it with, Margaret Atwood, I'm always struggling. I struggle with all her books to get into it. But with The Grace Year by Kate Liggett, I did not have that issue at all. So yeah, thumbs up for her. If you can get the book, please do and read. Yep. And so finally, The Rock and the River. This one we read at the Teens Book Club. And I think my teenagers, it's one of the books they really enjoyed, and I think we all did. Still set in the 1960s civil rights movement, the question of race in America, and what is the best way to fight racism or inequality? Do we fight it by dialogue, or do we war, or do we jaw, or do we talk about it? Are we going to be diplomatic about it, or are we going to fight by any means necessary, with any means, or with violence and all of that? It was being caught between two extremes. Some people wanting just dialogue and some people wanting just violence. And Samuel Childs, the main character, a young boy, is caught in that limbo where his father is for dialogue and his older brother is for violence, who was in the Black Panther group, and his father and their father belonged to the Martin Luther King Jr. group. So yeah, that was basically what the book was about, and this young boy trying to make his own mind up as to how he would also want to confront the world he has come to be in. So that was a list, a brief rundown of some of the books I read in 2021. It was fun. 2021 was good. I'm quiet because I have good memories and I have bad memories. But all the same, the Bible says that in all things give thanks. So I'm still grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everyone who has gone with me in this journey, my book club members, my friends in the book community that I follow, and everyone who has contributed to my reading this year, suggesting books, giving me books, lending me books. Thank you to all the guests I have had on Bookish Reflections. Thank you so very much. And so give me an end of the year gift by subscribing to this channel. Just subscribe, like this video, share it, Abby, if that's all you can give me this year, I'll be so grateful. But all the same, thank you for being there. The fact that you have watched this video even to this point, I am grateful. And I'm looking forward to an exciting 2022 Bookish Reflections. There is so much more coming. Looking at how this platform will expand, and so keep your eyes out, your ears tuned, your eyes watching for what is coming up next. I'm looking forward to every bit of next year, and so keep reading. Even though you did not smash your reading goals, I don't think I have yet. Let's see what happens between now and New Year. But whatever it is, don't beat yourself up. Pick yourself again. 2022 is there. So pick up your reading goals again and get at it. Go, 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 go. Don't stop. I'll be here encouraging you, giving you all the encouragement that you need to do what you have to do. So thank you once again. I am grateful. Thank you for being there, and I hope that my list of books that made 2021 an interesting year for me will also do the same for you in 2022 if you're going to read them. Thank you again, everyone. Bye.